Hi! Today we're going to be talking about everything that I made in spring. For the purposes of this video, spring is April, May, June, even though that's not technically the spring months. I did not have a super abundant amount of time for sewing. I only have 7 finished objects, which actually sounds like a lot. Let's get into it. I've been really into knitting lately. I've been obviously into it for quite a while. I've recently getting some metal interchangeable needles instead of the wood ones that I had, but because it's expensive, I've only been buying one set at a time, so it didn't come with a case. I figured I'd make my own. For the needles, I made this little folding wallet thing. I made different sections that hold all the different needles, and I left these open. I can still add sections there later, but I wasn't sure what size needles I was going to put there, so I was going to wait till I got the needles. Most of these are Zing, but I also have some copper ones in here, which I don't love the copper needles because copper seems to be more grippy than the aluminum ones, but that's just me. So that's how I'm storing my needles. And then the accessories I have in this pouch. I just self-drafted these pouches. This is an accordion pouch, and I keep my sock needles in this little thing I made in the center, and then they just live in this middle section. In the front section, I have most of my cords, and then in the back section, I have this little pouch that holds the tools for interchanging. Like these are the caps, and then there's also like the screws and stuff in here. And that is the first thing. It's 2 things, but it's 1 thing. Storage for my interchangeable needles. That was the first thing that I finished in April for sewing. Next, I went on a journey, and this journey was making pants. I've talked about pants a lot of times on my channel. I really want to be able to make my own. This year, I'm not buying any clothing, not even used. Everything I'm going to be making, and my pants have been wearing out, so I need to get on the pants making train. The first pattern, well, the only pattern that I sewed this spring was the Chanterelle pants, and they have an extension pack that you can get that makes it so that it's a zipper fly. I found with my body type I really need the zipper fly because the difference between my waist and my hips is 2 entire sizes, with my waist being quite a bit smaller. So if I want it to be snug on my waist, an elastic isn't enough because that won't be able to stretch over my hips. I need to have that zipper fly to have an extra large opening to get over my hips to my waist so that it's fitted there. The first pair that I made was this pair. This fabric I don't love the pattern of, but the structure of it works perfectly for trousers. I wish that I had more of this because this is a wall, so it don't actually wear it out. I wanted to do all of the techniques for my toile so that I could get used to them. So that's why I made it completely, but I wasn't sure if it was going to fit properly. Before I made this, I had altered the pattern so that it would fit me. So I printed out the size 14, 16, 18 all on one piece of paper because there's layers. You choose which layers you see, and I chose those 3 sizes because my waist falls into the size 14 and my hips falls into the size 18. Once I had taped it all together, I braided between the 18 to the 14 at the waist from the hip, and then I added 1.5 inches to the rise on the front and the back, and I added 1 inch of length to the legs. I figured that those were the type of modifications that my particular body type would need because I have a long torso from my groin to my waist. These trousers, I love the structure of the fabric. These are probably the best fabric of all the trousers that I made. This is a nice pattern for a beginner pattern modification for trousers because it has the elastic in the back of the waist. There is some wiggle room for sizing. If you don't get it quite right, that elastic eases it so it fits you right. After making this pair, I determined that basically that I didn't want the 2 buttons on the waistband. I used a bachelor button. I talked about those in one of my thrift hauls, but it's basically a removable button for if you can't sew on buttons, and I didn't want to put in the energy of sewing on a button for a pair of trousers that I knew I wasn't going to wear, so I just used the bachelor buttons, but they just popped off, so I don't recommend. I didn't like the double button. I just thought that it made it too crowded in that area. I didn't insert the fly quite right. The fly cover would open and expose the fly, which was unfortunate, and I also thought that they were too short when I wore them. So that was my mock-up. Then I went on and got really excited, and while I was wearing my mock-up, I cut out 3 more pairs of the Chanterelle trousers with the fly extension. And that was a bad idea because I had not worn the mock-up for a long enough amount of time to see if the fit was actually good. Next up, I had my navy pair, and this pair is beautiful. I really like the color. I found that the fabric was maybe perhaps too soft. It billowed too much. I feel like this pattern really lends itself to a more structured fabric, and this fabric was not that. It's not structured. For this pair, I had extended the cuff, and I did not like how that looked. I did not like how the pleats looked with this softer fabric. That's what drew me to this pattern, was the bubble hem, but I don't like how it feels when I wear it. It just doesn't feel nice. I feel like it's unflattering somehow. I don't feel good in it, so I knew that for my next rendition I was gonna have to modify that. I wear these trousers only to work. That's all I wear them for. And I have two things that I need to strap on my trousers when I'm at work. One is my badge, which I normally attach to my pocket, and then one is my keys, which I attach to my other pocket. Then the keys sit in my pocket and the badge is just floating free. With these trousers, because this fabric was so soft, the badge kept falling off, which is not good on a locked unit in a psychiatric hospital. I knew that for my next rendition I was gonna have to add a loop so that I could attach the badge to the loop instead of my pocket, so that it'd be more structured and would not fall off. I also found that the rise of these trousers, I definitely added too much to the waist. So I took off an inch for the waistband so that the whole waistband was an inch shorter. Another thing about these trousers, which you will have seen in the try-on clips, is the zipper broke. I used a metal tooth zipper and I thought it was high quality. It's YYK and everything. I got the zipper from the thrift store. A zipper tooth just like popped off, I guess. And so I can't get the functioning bit of the zipper. I can't get it back onto the other side. So it turns out that I'm not actually gonna wear these because the zipper broke. But I'm okay with that because I didn't actually feel great in them because of the weird way that the cuff sat and the pleats at the cuff and the ultra high waistedness. I just felt like it gave me weird proportions. I don't feel good in it. So I guess the zipper breaking was a blessing in disguise. This third pair of trousers is the green pair, and this is my favorite pair. I have shortened the cuff, I have shortened the waistband, I narrowed in each front and back leg by 1.5 inches on each side, 6 inches total around the cuff, and I feel like these sit much nicer on me. I added a loop here to hold my badge, so I can just clip my badge here, and that's very functional for me. This is also the first pair that I actually put my label in, Bee Leaf, which is very exciting. I just made this. I'm gonna show it in an upcoming video, how I made my own labels. No other notes. They do feel more like winter trousers than summer trousers, but other than that, I love them. 10 out of 10 would recommend. 3rd time's a charm. But I did not stop at 3. I made one final pair. This is the blue pair of trousers that I made from this pattern. It is definitely the most well-constructed pair of trousers. This pair also has a label in it, and it also has the belt loop. The fabric was not it. Even though it's super well constructed, and this is definitely a beautiful pair of trousers, the fabric drapes weirdly and bulges strangely when I'm wearing it. I feel like it's pretty unflattering, so I don't feel comfortable in those either. I also think that they might be too light of a color for my comfort zone. I like wearing darker trousers. I'm learning about myself. Final pair of trousers, I'm probably not going to wear to work. I don't feel comfortable in them aesthetically, but they are very comfortable physically, so I will most likely wear them at home while I'm lounging. So I got a pair of lounging trousers out of this. So out of those 4 pairs of trousers, only one I'm actually gonna wear to work, which means I need to make more trousers. The last thing that I made was the Vetiver blouse, this one. I talked about this quite a few times in my making plans. I think I talked about it in my spring making plans, and then I also talked about it in my recent summer sewing plans. I was talking about wanting to play with the directions of the stripes, and I did, and I love how it turned out. I think it's really classy, classic, elevated. I feel great in this. And what's fun is the vertical stripes along my shoulders broadens my shoulders visually, and I have narrow shoulders, so I really like how that looks. I feel like it's flattering on me. The buttonholes was a task. Every single buttonhole I had to do twice, which meant I had to rip out every single buttonhole. That sucked. My sewing machine was mad at me, I guess. It kept changing the settings mid-buttonhole. Like, the machine was doing it, not me. And I don't know how to fix that. So it was still faster than doing it by hand, and it did turn out looking pretty neat. I probably will continue to do buttonholes on my machine, but I hated that. I think that's everything that I wanted to share with you, what I sewed in spring. As I say, it's not a lot of actual wearable garments because I was learning. The Vetterford blouse I love, and I'm gonna wear it all the time, and it's like inspired me to really jump on the blouse train. I'm working on a video series where I'm gonna be making every single blouse pattern I have, and I'm gonna be using fabrics that are already in my stash. And that was the first blouse in that series. It's gonna be 3 blouses per video because I'm not going to go super in depth into the making process. I'm just going to do like a stop motion animation type thing. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it inspired you to make your own clothing. I hope that it was entertaining for you. That's all I have for you, folks. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!